With increased scrutiny on how big tech monetizes personal data, is there an emerging model where people will be paid for the use of their data? Is this more likely to be implemented by the public or the private sector?
I think it's a great question. I always thought that the real innovation is to go to consumers and say, I help you manage your data and I help you to auction it to the companies that want to use it. That is what, if I didn't have this job, I would try to do. I would call it Allianz Trésor and basically go to our 250 million clients and say, I'll make sure that you know what they know about you and to auction it. But to be very clear, yes, we have to have a few of these things happening in the future. We have to have it, and it's going to come. So I agree with Tyler in terms of the innovation. Again, we're debating. I would like to point on to one thing on competition that you didn't mention, is the fact that we can, as classical company, actually can have access to startups, and the reality is you can't. And you can look at China, which is super innovative, but you also see that behind almost all of the unicorns, there's always 3 names that show up. Always the same 3 names, because as a private company, you cannot afford to invest at these valuations, number one, and you don't have access. And the second thing is, there is a second point behind all of our debates, is maybe that we have also a form of war and competition between, the US, China, and the West going on, as who is going to have the largest tech companies, and are we not competing between countries now in a different sphere than war? We're actually, who is going to conquer the internet? And we're allowing large companies to be so dominant because we want rather a US company to be dominant than a Chinese company, and we're not even debating that.